We're here with What's the Tea with Nikkolayla, and I have my guest here, Claire, with Clarity Out Loud. So, Claire, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
I'm well. So I'm so glad that you all came and showed up today to watch our show. It is so wonderful to be here, and I'm so grateful that you showed up. So anyway, today we have Claire with Clarity Out Loud, and she has a business that she's been running, and she's been a professional yoga teacher for over 5 years. And she is all around the Las Vegas area. And so look out for her with Clarity Out Loud. And we're going to actually post her information at the end of this segment, so you'll know how to reach her and if you want some yoga. So Clarity Out Loud is an expression of youthfulness and expansion and spirituality and physicality and connecting into with your inner self and your body, mind, and spirit. So Claire, can you kind of talk to us about, what inspired you to start your business?
Quite honestly, I was at the point where I was working tirelessly, and I made a connection when I did my yoga teacher training back in 2014, actually, that working every day for somebody who would easily replace me as soon as I was gone wasn't something that I wanted to do. I had a lot to give and a lot of ideas, and I wanted to bring that. And going through my yoga teacher training, I started to transform. And so I was really inspired there to do some introspection and make a decision about what I wanted to give to the world. I have this passion, this desire to give back to my community and to make change. I love to say that I want to make people's lives better for having known me. And working in a world where someone just looks at you as replaceable wasn't meeting that need for me. So I was inspired to branch out and find the ways that I could be irreplaceable in people's lives.
Wow, that's beautiful. So what I hear with Claire is that she is actually touching people's lives on a consistent basis. Now, you were a teacher. I don't know if you... So she was a teacher, and she worked with... What age group did you work with?
I kind of was all over the place. I originally started in elementary school, so I taught third grade and fifth grade. I moved up to middle school, so I taught 8th grade math for a little bit, and then I taught elementary library, so I was in the library working with all students from kindergarten through 5th grade. But I also tutored all the way up through high school. I actually had a few students that were college-age students that I was tutoring, so I've kind of worked with children from basically birth. I was in a child care setting, so birth through college. I've worked with kiddos. Yeah.
Wow. So she has a wide, expansive range for all age groups, sounds like. And she's got one little one herself at home, and he's so adorable. So I just wanted to find out more about what you do. So I read some information about you. She is working with Reiki yoga, hot vinyasa. Is that how you pronounce
Vinyasa,
it? Yeah. Vinyasa yoga. Now I did some yoga myself, everybody. Bikram yoga for off and on for 12 years. I loved it so much. I don't know if this is anywhere close to that, but
Bikram they have a set series. They have the same 26 poses. I believe it's 26 poses that they do consistently. So if you go to a Bikram class, whether you do it in Las Vegas or you do it in Los Angeles or in New York, you'll get the same set of poses. The style of yoga that I do is I create my own sequence, and so every time that you come to my class, it'll be a different sequence to work on different aspects.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I got a question for you. Do you ever tune into the group that you're teaching? So, I know some people say, they do beginners yoga, intermediate yoga, and advanced yoga. Do you tune into the people that you're teaching? Do you tune into their energy, regarding who's coming in? Do you actually feel and know?
So I do, absolutely. I try, though, to have a balance. So if I, for example, have written down that I'm teaching a level 1, 2, or a beginner intermediate class, I try to make sure that the poses that I'm teaching and the sequence that I create is level 1, 2. If I have more advanced students coming, what I love about about yoga is the creativity behind it. So I'm able to say, okay, well, Miyoshi, my friend Miyoshi came, and she is a little bit more advanced, so I'm going to be able to make sure that I'll give her an up-level modification, whereas Susie came, and she's a little bit less advanced, so I'm going to give her a down-level modification, but everyone's able to have access to all of the poses that I teach.
Okay.
So, for example, I taught a class this morning, and it was an inversion class. There was multiple versions of handstands and whatnot throughout, and there was some people that were like, I don't go upside down. And I was like, that's okay. I can give you an inversion that you can have access to, and so that's part of my joy of teaching yoga, is making it accessible to everybody.
Very good. So she's not just addressing the mind anymore. She's addressing your body. She's addressing your spirituality. She's addressing your physicality. And so she's meeting certain areas that on a normal basis in our everyday life, we don't always meet because we're not always active in those areas. So what I get from Claire is she's expanding the full mind, body, and spirit in the full more expansiveness. So it's kind of like she's touching you into your soul, into your spaces of your soul, and expanding the more horizons. So I wanted to ask you this, as far as your interaction with your clients, have you noticed some change in them with people that you've worked with over time?
Absolutely. In fact, I was just saying that this morning to one of my clients. She was so excited after class was over. She had done some things that she hadn't done before. And I said to her, I see you. I see the changes that you've made just in your practice over the course of the time that we've worked together. And it's really powerful. I had a man that I worked with. He was only in town for 2 weeks. And he came to one of my classes, and he was like, I'll be back he was back twice a week for the 2 weeks he was there. And then he even came and found me a class I subbed. But even in those 2 weeks, I saw an emotional and physical transformation with him, just coming twice a week to see me. It's powerful, it's powerful stuff. I do private work at yoga sessions as well, and it's important to me at the end of the session to have them assess their own change. So at the beginning of the session, I have them do a little, I do a little assessment technique, and they check in. And at the end, I ask the same questions again and have them check in. And so far, without fail, everyone sees a difference just having spent, an hour or 90 minutes together. There's change.
Wow. That's wonderful. It's good to hear that you're touching people's lives in that way. It's good. So I just wanted to find out, what is your inspiration for today? Like, what has inspired you today? What's inspiring for you today? Like
what got me out of bed this morning?
Yeah, whatever you woke up with. You know what? Yeah, because we all have inspiring thoughts that come to us in, like a blink of an eye, or sometimes it takes some time, when you're interacting with people in your daily life. Sometimes you get an inspiration and you move on it. So what inspired you today?
So I'm going to give you a little bit of a story to lead up to my inspiration today. So I have never been one to remember my dreams. And over the course of the last, I'll say 4 months, I've been pretty consistently having different dreams that I remember. And they're pretty... Some of them really impactful. Some of them I'm kind of like, I'm not sure what that means. I'm looking forward to finding out what the universe has for me to, unveil. But last night, but I hadn't had dreams. So I hadn't had dreams probably for the last couple of weeks. I've been kind of running pretty ragged, running myself ragged if I'm being honest. But last night was the first time in several weeks that I'd had dreams, and they were very vivid, and I remember them very much, and they were so strange, just very different and strange. But I felt there was people in my dreams that I haven't seen or connected with in years. Yeah. Interesting situations that seemed kind of scary in the dream, but felt expansive in the emotional aspect when I woke up this morning. So my inspiration for today was to give myself time to breathe. Because quite honestly, all of the feelings and emotions that came up with these dreams was panic and fear and there was frustration. There was people that were angry. And so even in my kind of wakeful, sleepy state, when I would wake up from the dreams, I don't consistently sleep through the night. So when I would wake up from these dreams and kind of reflect on them for a moment, I would put myself back into this visualization that I've been kind of consistently having. It came to me in inspiration, and that's been kind of now I go back to that place. It's on a sailboat, practicing yoga in a remote place. So, but it's like my mind automatically knew I needed to be, on the sailboat. So my inspiration today was just to take a step back and allow those things that are coming up and wanting to be released with my breath.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's my inspiration for today.
Wow. So everybody, if you heard what she said, she talked about breathing. And so, of course, in yoga, that is one important thing that you have to do is breathe. So the fact that she actually intertangled that in with her dream state and actually reminded, and then she intertwined that even with knowing that in that private space that she's created for herself to go into that breathtaking yoga space. So that means you can tap into your yoga at any time, in any place, anywhere. To get to that quiet space inside of you. So
I'm really glad you brought that up, actually, because I think that one thing that people forget, or maybe don't even know in the first place, is that yoga is so much more than the physical practice. There are actually 8 limbs of yoga, and if you want to know more about it, please feel free to check out my my website and my Instagram and whatnot. But there's more to it, and most of the 8 limbs, like half of them, are really focused on mindfulness and bliss and meditation and going inward and focusing on your senses, going outward and focusing on what's out and about you, going into space. Yoga asana, the physical practice, is just one of 8. It's 1/8 of the full yoga practice.
Wow.
So saying that you can incorporate yoga into your full life is an understatement.
Right.
Like, yoga is a way of life, really. Right. And I'm actually going to be working on a little bit of writing about the yamas and the niyamas, which are 2 different other aspects of it. But it's kind of like the things that you incorporate into your life and the things that you, I don't want to say remove, but that you're mindful of clearing out of your life so that you can have a more peaceful, calm, joyful existence. We were not meant to come here and suffer.
Right.
We have struggle and we have challenge, but we weren't meant to come here to suffer. And so it's a good reminder of taking a moment to enjoy life, even through the challenges and struggles.
Wow. I'm glad she brought that up. So I don't know if anybody's watched any of the other things that I've posted. I have another expression of mastery YouTube videos that I've been posting up about mastering yourself. And so even with my own experience that I've had, I actually have touched on so much of my own inner self interacting with expanding myself, just like I said, I did my 12 years off and on of yoga. So I started my spiritual journey, a while back, and I'm consistently moving on with that. But yoga was one of my first open doors that actually assisted me in expanding within myself, because it allowed me to connect into my body. And actually, I learned some things. I mean, I didn't even realize how flexible I was. My first class actually doing Bikram yoga, and that's the reason why I loved it so much, is because it allowed me to loosen up. It just releases the juices in your body to actually move. Now, everybody can't handle that. Some people can and some people can't. But the good thing is you have options. So she offers the options. So she has... She works with the hot yoga, and then also the hot.
Comparatively, it's probably more like warm yoga.
Okay, so it's more, okay.
So with Bikram and many of the considered hot yoga styles, they have their rooms set up to anywhere from 95 up to 100, 110
Yeah.
degrees.
Love that.
And I teach more at in 85, 80,
Okay.
85 degrees.
Okay.
And there's a reason. The reason is because I don't want that much sweat. I prefer for you to have the heat to warm up your muscles and your connective tissues. But it's really important to me that you maintain hydration, and also because my sequence isn't a set series of 26. My sequence is a more movement. I focus on proper alignment and muscle usage when you're getting into a pose. So like you said, it's really, it was really cool to figure out how flexible you are, but a lot of people will lean into that flexibility and end up hurting themselves because they're not using the proper muscles to support the body. And so it's like, I can touch my toes and I'm going to lean over and touch my toes because I can go as far as I can, but without the proper strengthening and the right usage of your muscles, you can really cause some serious injury. And so for me, it's really important to show people how they can still find that power and that strength in the yoga, so that their body is getting strong. So it might not be 110 degrees in my room, but you're going to sweat and you're going to get a good workout, and you're going to know when you left that you've been using your body.
Okay. So one of the things, and I'm glad she touched on that because I've watched her do yoga and she was doing poses that I'm like going, how the heck are you doing that? Because her body is so fit and so strong, but she's been practicing. But it sounds, if you look at her do some of the positions that she's done, I'm going, she makes it look so easy, but I know that she's put work into doing those poses. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Well, and a big part of that is what I was saying before about making yoga accessible. I use props because using props helps you get the proper alignment. Once you get the proper alignment in your body, you actually can extend more than you think, because it's like, oh, now my pelvis is aligned and in the right spot. So now I'm able to like actually reach and touch my toes within a level pelvis. So now I have both sides of my body are where they're supposed to be. And a new thing that I'm really getting into right now is working with the weak side. So, we all have a stronger side. One side is stronger than the other. Usually it's your dominant side, you call it, or whatnot. But just in most classes that have you do even, you do the even number left side and even number right side or whatnot. But it's nice because if you start working with your weak side, you can strengthen your weak side to be closer to your strong side. And then you're actually building muscles that kind of get to take a break and relax most of the time, because it just starts giving into your stronger side. So that's been a new thing that I've been really interested in and playing around with, dabbling with in my classes too.
So this is just what's coming up to me, and there's two things, is that she's a doctor. I mean, this is like she's doctoring up your body to actually strengthen, because usually most of the time when people, something gets hurt or something, you immediately go to the doctor, you get, and actually in my past, I've been a registered nurse. So you want to go to the doctor, you want to stop the pain and things like that. So we can probably touch on that too, because I want to know more about the pain. But before we go there, I wanted to find out, as far as chakras are concerned, because that was something that, that helped me. That's why I was doing yoga. That wasn't the whole purpose of why I was doing yoga. Quite honestly, it began to be something I was more aware of. Now, I didn't know much about chakras, but what is it that you've noticed as far as your own body, as far as your chakra systems, like awakening them? Because we'll touch on stuff like that later on in the show, and maybe I'll post some information about chakras if you're not familiar with them. They're the energy circles on different parts of your body. We start off with 7 of them. However, there are an expansive more. I've heard of 122 chakras, but they're everywhere around you. And as you continue to grow and expand in your experience in life and connect into your body, and then also expand in your spirituality, more of those energy centers open up for you. So can you kind of touch on that information?
So I want to say, first of all, that it's not like a college degree. You don't unlock your chakras and you're like, cool, got that one done, on to the next. It's an ongoing process. And so to touch back on your question, I feel that I am easier able to unlock my chakras because of the practices that I put into place daily. And there are still times when I notice that my throat chakra is a little bit more closed, or I'll notice that, oh, I needed to do a little bit of work on my root chakra. And so just to give you just a quick synopsis, the 7 that she mentioned, you have your root chakra, which is housed in your perineum, at your pelvic floor, basically. So then you have your root chakra, it goes up into your sacral chakra, which kind of is housed at your low back. And then you have your yellow chakra, I just lost the name of that one. And then sacral,
there's solar plexus
up into your heart chakra, throat chakra, your third eye chakra, which is kind of between your forehead and the base of your head there, and then your crown chakra right at top. And then there's one that kind of hovers about 18 inches above your head as well. But the bottom 3 chakras are really rooted with earth and more of the physical aspects. And then your heart chakra is the go-between between your more spiritual chakras and your more earth-grounded chakras. But a lot of people don't realize, if they've had trauma in their lives, that their root chakra is really the one that's blocked. And when you have one that's blocked, it makes it really hard to get energy flowing up through the rest. And they kind of are all tied together with like this little snake system that goes through your body. And so, any kind of, you might hear people talking about kundalini, it's opening and awakening your kundalini. That's kind of what they're talking about, is getting that energy flow, the spiritual energy flowing from your root chakra up and out through your crown chakra. If you have trauma, though, going back to your thing about being a doctor, if you have trauma, it's really, really actually imperative to work on the trauma, because if you're not willing to go and do the work to get rid of these blocks and these emotions and these things that are kind of able to hold you back, it makes it very difficult for you to have expansive growth. Not impossible, but very difficult.
Right. So let me kind of clarify some of the stuff that she's saying. And so I can only talk about one of the experiences that I had. I remember doing some yoga, and the memory came back from when she was touching on this, is that my root chakra, we were doing a position, and I just started crying. And I didn't even have a clue where these tears were coming from, but I was releasing something in my root chakra, which is near the perineum area.
And it includes, it's your perineum, and it includes all of your extremities of your legs and your feet.
Okay.
So so anything that's like from your perineum down is considered root. So any standing poses that you do, anything that you're doing with your legs, could release.
Very good. Wow, I didn't even know that. So I'm learning just like you guys. I'm inspired to learn more. So, wow, thank you. Okay. So what it does is it releases emotions that you have locked up, and you don't have a clue that they're in there, because what happens is your body has memory. Your cells have memories in them. And so from, I don't want to get too deep, but, some of it could be like past life things. Some of it could be
genetic.
Yes.
Passed down from your ancestors.
There's degrees of all kinds of things of how certain things can be locked up in your body. So, what she's talking about is actually assisting you in releasing all of that. Not all of it, because
that would take privates.
It takes time for you to start cleansing those things out of you. However, when you do release those things, even though you don't realize that they're there, oh my gosh, you can tell the transformation that takes place in your life. You begin to feel freer in certain areas that you didn't even think that you knew that you needed freedom in. And so she's here to assist you in that. And so thank goodness that she's moved into her inspiration and her, from what I get, is this your joy? Is one of your joys? Okay, so you know that What's the Tea with Nikkolayla is we're talking about compassion, passion, joy, and your inspiration. And we're going to delve on some more things as we move along in our experience and connecting with all of the things that you like, that make you happy and bring you joy and happiness, because we're here to inspire, ignite, and spark that life that's within you. And it's good to just be happy and have a smile on your face. But don't get me wrong, it's not about having a smile on your face every single day, because we know that there's hardships, there's pain, and there's even anger that you have to that has to come out as well. So it's kind of like being true to yourself. So Claire, if we can, you know, if you can share with with our audience out there, what what inside you has transformed and changed you from your experience of starting your yoga path? You know, how did that like ignite you to where you are right now?
Gosh, that's a pretty deep question. I'm going to take it a little bit shallow for the sake of time, because I could go into quite the story. But when I started yoga,
I just have to come back.
When I started yoga and teaching yoga in particular, I went into it for this like super competitive, I'm gonna take yoga by storm, and I really wanted to see what my body was capable of. That was kind of what I was doing. You know, these people could do splits, I'm gonna do the splits or whatever. Right? And so what I've taken away from it has been so much deeper. And it's interesting because I was just talking to my mom about this. My aunt is very, very grounded in her religion. And I try to have conversations with her about my spirituality, which I find to be deeper for me than religion. And she won't hear me. She thinks that yoga is of the devil, or you know, whatever her thoughts are about that. I put those words in her mouth. She didn't actually say that, but she has a really hard time talking to me about spirituality. And I know a lot of it is, you know, the fear of the unknown. She doesn't know what yoga is about. But what I love about yoga and what ignites me and lights me up and inspires me every day is that yoga is all-inclusive. You can be any religion and practice yoga. In fact, every religion practices aspects of yoga if they're, you know, getting into any ceremony about it. And so it took me away from these confines and building blocks of what I'm supposed to be, because this is what my religion tells me, this is what my family tells me, this is what my society tells me, my community tells me, all these blocks that supposedly build up Claire, and it broke those down for me so that I could actually find Claire, my highest sovereign self. And it's a work in progress every single day. I have to make it an effort to wake up in the morning and meditate. But when I don't, I see the difference, you know? And now yoga is not a competition. It's not a competition within my body or without, you know, with anybody else. Yoga for me is a practice of meditating on my body, finding the capabilities of my body. And some days I can do the splits, and some days I don't, because that day is not the day for it. And I love myself through it anyway. And I love myself through it anyway because I make it a point to hold on to my ideals, my values, my spiritual appreciation for the entirety of yoga.
Yeah. Wow. That was absolutely beautiful. So we are so grateful that we had Claire here to come on our show. What's the tea with Nikkolayla? Ting ting. So we're gonna have her back on the show. I'm so excited to see her again. Haven't seen her in a little while, so it was good to connect again, and we'll stay connected, and you just stay tuned in because you're going to see more of Claire on other shows. We'll probably be around the world somewhere, having tea somewhere that we are enjoying, and you'll be there with us, okay? So thank you so much for coming on and listening to our show, and we'll see you soon again. Love you. Bye. Whether you're walking, jogging, or riding your bike, or doing some stretch yoga, you can wear your Daughters of Light t-shirt. It comes in an array of colors, and you can find it on Facebook at Peacock Goddess, or you can find it on the website, Peacock Goddess Wear. Check it out. There's so many things to choose from. There's more clothing there and other items too. So have fun and be light.